I am ready. Let's start.
Okay, so yeah, today we are going to see the demo of our MyOPD software.
This demo is of MyOPD Clinic version. It can be used either by the doctor alone or by the doctor along with the receptionist staff. We also have a separate hospital software product. This demo in particular covers the clinic software part.
Okay, so let me just log in into this one. Okay, so this is the home screen which we see when we log in, and there are a few options like this: my patient, patient visit trend, some information which we can quickly see on this home screen. So from here we can go either to the start option or this my patient option. So let's go to this start option, and we can quickly see today's summary here. So let's select list of all patients to see all the added patients here. Okay, now this is the list of all patients where we can register new patients. So there is this option of add patient we can use for that. Now this task either can be done by doctors, or we can transfer this task to our receptionist staff also. So to add a new patient, if we click on this option, we can add information like this first name, last name, or gender, city, state. Or if the receptionist is the one who is adding this information, so they will see a different screen on their computer. Now to work with the receptionist option, we need to connect our computers with Wi-Fi router, and then we can give receptionist one username and password which they can use for login. Now when we are logging into our software, so we can just see different options at the receptionist end. So receptionist can register a new patient from here using this add new option, or if the patients are already added, they can search that patient, those patients by their names or phone numbers or IDs. Okay, so this is the list of all patients which a receptionist will see. And if they need to create a separate waiting list of those patients who are there right now in the clinic, so there is a separate option of queue for that. So we can just click on this add option. Then we need to select doctor name here, and we can add details like weight, height, or blood pressure, temperature from the receptionist end. So let's add some information like this. Okay, so now if we click on this add option, a separate waiting list will get created. So receptionist can use this list to just check that which patient is the first patient or second patient. So we can add multiple patients here. So let's go back and add few more patients. So it is not mandatory to add this information every time. So if it is not required, we can just skip this information, and we can still be able to add that patient in the queue. Okay, so likewise, we can just keep adding the patient in the queue.
Can I see this waiting list on my screen?
Yeah, so once the queue is created, so doctors also can see that queue on their end. So earlier we saw by default, it was the list of all patients we selected, but there is another option of queue. So if we select that, we can see the queue here, which is created by the receptionist. So if we add one more patient here, for example, just a second. Okay, it will quickly get reflected here as well. Okay, so doctors,
One question
yeah.
regarding Wi Fi router. You mentioned about Wi-Fi router to be used to connect reception device with my computer.
Yeah.
Is internet required for working of this system?
So our software works offline. So for basic things like adding patients or adding visit details, internet is not required. So to connect our computer with the receptionist computer, we need this Wi-Fi router so that receptionist computer will be able to interact with doctor's computer. But internet is not mandatory for this scenario. So even if internet is not available at certain instances, software will still be able to function.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Which devices are supported for the reception's staff? Can I use a
Yes,
regular
yes, right.
computer or how does that work?
So as you have seen, I just opened the browser of my computer and entered a link in that browser and start uh, working at the receptionist end. So as it is, as we can work through the browser, any device we can use at the receptionist end, whether it is a laptop or a tablet or a mobile phone as well. So there is no device dependency or particularly for the receptionist. So they can use any device on their end.
That's great.
As far as these two, yeah, yeah. For the doctor's end, we need Windows-based computer
Okay,
because we need to install the software, and our software is a Windows-based software. So at their end, they will need a computer, but at the receptionist end, they can use any device.
okay.
Okay.
That is a great
Yeah.
feature.
Yeah. So basically, this is how we can create a queue of
One
patients
question.
for doctors. Yeah, yeah.
Which Windows version is supported for the doctor's device?
So Windows 7 particularly now Microsoft has stopped support for that. So we don't recommend using it. Earlier, our software used to work on that as well. But nowadays, as Microsoft themselves are not supporting Windows 7, even the Windows 8 is also going out of support. So we recommend Windows 10 and above versions uh, for our software.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So can we proceed?
Yes, please.
Yes. So we created a queue earlier, which we can quickly see from this option, view patient queue. Okay. Now let's go to the doctor's end. So sometimes it happens like receptionist comes earlier or before the doctor, and they start adding the patients or creating queues, and then doctors come and they just open this software and they will see the queue and then start calling patients. So from their cabin, we have given a provision to notify receptionist to send next patient. So there is this option. Okay, so there is this bell icon which we need to press, but before that, there is a tab which we need to open at the receptionist end. Okay, so when we click on this option of next patient, we will
Next
hear a
patient.
sound of next patient, or the receptionist basically will hear the sound of next patient.
Next patient.
Okay, so they will know that doctor wants to meet the next patient now, and they can send the next patient who is in the queue.
Nice.
Okay, so next patient will come to meet doctor, and then they will start adding the treatment part
Got
for
it.
them.
Okay,
So now let's assume that patient, yeah, yeah. So now let's assume that patient is in the cabin. So
Will
this is,
the reception staff hear
yeah,
this sound on their computer?
yeah. So receptionist will hear that sound, and they will just check the queue and will send next patient who is needed to be sent to the queue.
That's a great feature.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's move on to the doctor's part again. So this is the screen which again doctors will see, and this was the queue which we opened earlier. So let's assume that this Ramesh Rao patient is in the cabin right now. Now, if we need to add the visit details for this patient, we just need to double click or just select and press enter on the keyboard. So if we do that, it will open a new window where we can enter the details of this ongoing visit. Okay, there are different options which are available, like this complaints, findings, diagnosis, prescription. But it is not mandatory to enter everything every time. We can enter only those things which are applicable for this ongoing visit. So, for example, we just need to enter complaints or diagnosis or medicines for this current visit. Then we can do that. And here, if you see, we just entered earlier at the receptionist end while adding the patient in the queue. We added a few things like this weight information or blood pressure information, which is directly getting reflected here. So unless we don't want to make any changes here, we can just review this information and uh, just move on with it. So that saves our time of typing. Now let's quickly create a prescription.
One question.
So yeah.
There is time getting shown on screen. What is that?
Yeah. So yeah. So this is the time which has taken for this visit. Okay. So we can quickly see how much time we are spending with patient, and according to that, we can just uh, check that this much time we are spending, whether it is 5 minutes or 6 minutes. Okay. And if we want to reduce or increase the time which we are spending with patient, we can do that. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, so move on with this widget details. Let's add some complaints first. So to add anything new here, we for the first time we need to type it completely. For example, if we want to add a complaint, so we need to type it for the first time. If it is not there, when we will save the widget, it will get stored, and next time we will be able to use it. If it is already there, then we can just quickly use it from this suggestions option. Okay, there are two
How
more.
can I see the previous
Yeah,
visit details of this
yeah,
patient? I want to see that before checking the patient.
yeah. So if you want to do that, there is this option of view past visits. So if we just take the cursor over there, we can quickly see past visit summary in this box. And if we click on that option, we will get a detailed view of past visits. So this is the recent most visit. If we click on this previous visits, we will keep seeing the visits that has happened in the previous dates.
How many visits can be stored for this patient? Chronic patients have many visits.
S- Yeah, so there is no limitation as such for now, and we can see any number of visits. Like if the patient has visited a few years back, we can still see that visit. So we are not restricting anything or any span as such for now. Okay.
So I can store any number of visits for any patient. Like even if the patient has
Yeah.
visited 20 times, it will get stored.
Yes. Now, if you see this patient has 5 visits, we can see those details here also. That is another detailed view. And even if the patient has visited years ago or many times, we can see all those visits here. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, let's go back. Yeah. Yes. So now here we can just keep adding things. So this is the complaint so part which we have added. Okay. Now we will just add some diagnosis and quickly add some medicines to see how prescription gets printed. So let's say some diagnosis is like this. Okay, now there are a few options for quick entry which we can use. So there is this copy from last option. So if there are same complaints from last visit, you can use this copy from last option. Also, there is an option of quick add which we can use. So in quick add, we will see all the complaints which we have added until now for any patient. And if we want to quickly select some complaint like this, so we can do that. So we can quickly select some complaint on just few clicks, and they will get added here. So in that case, we don't need to type anything, and that will save our time of typing. Same options are available here also for diagnosis, quick add, and copy last. Okay. Now, if we want to add a few medicines, so we can jump to this prescription option. We can go to this add modify option. Now, there are multiple ways through which we can add medicines. One way is again, if the medicine is not there, we can type the name of medicine like this. Now, let's assume that it is not there. So first time, if we add it, we need to add these details like this, whether it is a tablet or capsule or dosages for that medicine, conditions. Okay, and if the medicine is there and if we have used it before, so we will see it like this. Okay, now if we see or if we choose already existing combination, so all these details of unit type or morning afternoon dosages, so these details will get filled from that suggestion itself. Okay, again we can save our time there, and we can keep adding medicines like this. Okay, or let's say something like this. Okay, so this is one way of adding medicines. Now let's see if we want to reuse this same set of medicines again for same diagnosis. We can create a template and link this same medicines or the same set of medicine with this diagnosis, so that next time whenever we will enter this diagnosis, we can use the template and we don't need to enter same medicines again. Okay, so we will see that in detail, but let's quickly see how this prescription gets printed. So now I have added these medicines in our final selection, and then there is this option of print prescription. So if we go to this option, we will see that what things we want to print on the prescription. So if we don't want to print diagnosis, we can just remove this, and we can print the same prescription in different languages. So these many languages are available right now. And let's say if we want to print all our prescription in certain language, let's say in Hindi, so we can set that language as a default language in our settings, and then all the prescriptions will get printed in Hindi. So right now, if we see the preview, prescription will look like this.
Okay,
Okay. So complaints, diagnosis, the things which we have selected are getting printed. Okay.
yes.
Yeah. And if we change the language, yeah. Do you have any query?
There was some QR code image on the prescription.
Yeah. So let's select the language again. Let's see that again. So to answer your question, the QR code is actually a UPI code. So sometimes doctors need to print this for payment purpose. So we have a provision to add the UPI in our settings, and according to that, a QR code will get generated, which patient can scan with their UPI app, whether it could be Google Pay or Phone Pay, Paytm, and they can make payments from here or from their
But
app.
it is not compulsory to print, right?
Yeah, it is optional. So many things here can be changed, like this barcode you are seeing. So let me just quickly show you that settings option, and then we will come back here again. So there is this settings option, and there is this printer settings option, where we have different settings. So UPI QR code setting, which we are talking earlier. So it is here. If I turn off this option, so the QR code won't get printed. There is an option of printing the barcode. That is actually the patient ID, barcode of the patient ID. So that is also can be removed. Or yeah, means there are different things: patient ID or doctor name at the end, visit time, or the signature option is there. So all these options are configurable. We can change them if we don't need them.
Can I set my
Okay.
prescription language to Hindi for all
Yeah.
patients instead of changing them for every patient?
Yes. Yes. So like I said earlier, we can set a default language from this option, RX language. Okay, Hindi. If we set, all the prescriptions will get printed in Hindi. So usually we don't need to change it every time. But let's say under certain cases, if patient doesn't understand language which we have selected, so in that case we can change it from here for that particular patient. Okay, so in that case, means if the patient doesn't understand Hindi or Marathi, so we can change it to English or any other language which that patient understands, and then software remembers that language. So whenever the patient will come to meet us next time, we don't need to change language again for that patient. So it will be automatically selected in this box. Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so let's go back to the prescription again. Yeah, so now if we print it in Hindi, it will look like this. So the dosages, conditions, duration, or the quantity, these things will get translated. Okay. And those options which we saw earlier, like signature, barcode, those are also getting printed here.
Can I print this prescription on my clinic's letterhead?
Yes, yes. So right now, if you see, we are printing it from the software itself. So you can print your own logo here or the colored doctor or clinic name. Okay, like this. But if you are printing it on your own letterpad, there are few settings you need to change from the same settings option, printer settings option, which we saw earlier. And then you can print the same prescriptions on your own letterpad with your own paper sizes, which you have chose for your letterpad. Okay, so that can be done. So if you want to see that in detail, I can show you. Just a few settings are there. Just let me quickly show you that. You just need to change this doctor and clinic name setting, and there is this do page setup option, which allows you to do your own page setup. So here, if you change this settings, you will be able to print the same prescription on your own letterpad. Otherwise, we have given the provision to print the clinic
Sorry,
logo.
Can you please show
or
again the setting that you changed? Again, please.
yes, yes. Yeah, I just removed the doctor and clinic name. Then there was this two-page setup option. Okay, we have different paper sizes, or these are the sizes basically which are available in the printer.
I use
So you
A4
can
paper.
choose any size. Okay, so let's choose A4. Then let's assume that top margin, uh, or on the top of that paper you have some content. So let's add some space for it. And yeah, now if you see the prescription again, you won't see the header getting printed from our software. Instead, we have just kept this space blank. So here your own letterhead will be there, and below that, this prescription will get printed like this. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So this is how basically we can quickly create prescription. Okay. So just add complaints or medicines which you need, or diagnosis, and you can just print the prescription. If you need to add some other options, so we have many options which we can add for one visit. So findings option is there. Okay, which where we can add clinical findings, or we can also attach documents if they're necessary. So if some patient had some reports or some images of x-rays, we can just simply attach them here like this. Okay. Or we can also add some notes if they are required, or we can create a to-do list for next visit. So if we need to remember some things related to this patient for next visits, so we can add those items here. Okay. And there are few more things I really want to show you. So if you see investigations option here, so here we can add investigations which are needed. But like we saw earlier, I mentioned a template option. So that template option basically, what it does is, if there is certain case and if we need to add some repeated set of, let's say, investigation or medicines or advice given, so we can create a predefined set of these things. That option is there available for this investigation, prescription, and advice. Okay. So here also you can create a template with its added investigations, and if you link it with a certain diagnosis, so you will, whenever we will enter that diagnosis which has created templates, so you will see this message. Now if you see, let's remove these things. Let's remove prescription also for this purpose. And just a second. And advice is also blank now. Okay, so now if I enter certain diagnosis for which we have created all these templates, so we'll see this message. Now if I click on the CS option, those templates will get used. So now this is the template which we have created for that diagnosis. Okay. And all these medicines, 7 8 medicines which we have added, or which we are reusing every time for that particular condition, so we can quickly use them like this.
Is template
And
option
this works
available for
even
the
for,
advice part as well?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So same thing happens for this. Just a second. Okay, so let's go back. The same thing happens for this investigations also, and advice also.
Okay,
All these things will come up or get filled up automatically from that template, so that we just don't need to add them again and again every time for uh, all those with patients with that condition.
okay,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah. And for investigations particularly, now we can, along with the prescription, we can print different kind of documents from this MyOPD software. So particularly for investigations, if we want to print the lab requisition note, there is an option for that where we can refer the patient or send the patient to a particular lab for certain kind of tests. So let's say if we select this lab name, and there are a few things which we can choose here: priority or allergies history. We can add some note if we want, and this is how lab requisition note will get printed. Okay, again, this can be done on our own papers. So if you see, the space is again blank here. Okay, and this is how a requisition note will get printed. So let me just turn on those settings again. Yeah. So there is one more option here, which was of references. So we can refer this patient to another doctor or hospital. So we can add their details here like this. And if somebody has referred some patient to us, so we can their details here like this. Okay. So if we just want to send a message to that particular doctor, a referral message, so we can add that doctor's phone number here, and he or she will receive a message that the patient they have referred now under our treatment. In this case of referred by, or in referred to, they will receive a message that I have referred some patient to you. So we have given those templates here. And along with that, we can print referral letters. So here we can print a referral letter or a hospital admission letter like this. So if we are sending the patient for admission, we can print later for that also like this. Okay, it will look like this. Okay. Yeah. And finally, if we want to meet this patient after few days, like 10 days or 15 days, we can add those details here. Okay, for follow-up. And there is a provision to send messages for follow-up, particularly like there are different kind of templates we have given. So if some patient or if some child has a vaccine due, or if some patient has a checkup due, we can choose a suitable template mm, from this set of template, and this is the text which will get sent on the patient's phone number one day prior to the follow-up. Okay.
Will my phone number be used to send this message?
So it will get sent from our end. So it will be sent from MyOPD.
So your number.
Okay. So yeah, yeah. So this message either can be an SMS or a WhatsApp message. We can choose in which or from which medium we need to send them, and we can also send these messages in regional languages. So if we want to send this message in Hindi or Marathi, so we have provision for that.
So
Okay.
multiple regional languages are supported.
Yeah. Yeah. So finally, now with some additional details which we have added, we can revisit this prescription. So let me just change margin setting again quickly. And if we see the prescription now, So it will look like this. Now we are printing all the things. So this advice, investigations, follow-up details also are getting printed. Yeah. In case if we want to print the document which we have added, we can select this print option in front of that document. And also we can print charts or these vitals. So in case if we want to print them, we can select these options and they will get printed like this. Okay. So certain times if the patients need to monitor their vital parameters or see the effects of medicines which are happening or whether it is working or not, the charts are really helpful in those conditions.
But this chart is showing only one value.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. So today's visit, that value is there, but if we keep entering these values in, if we have the details from past visit, right now, if you see in the past visits, we haven't entered those vital related details. But if we enter them, they will also get printed. So then they will be able to see the past visit values, like this was my weight or this was my blood pressure on those dates, and then they will be see that how uh, the treatment is working or whether it is working or not, and they can consult doctors according. Okay. Yeah.
Can the instructions in advice section get printed in our language?
Yeah, so we can add translations for advice. For that we have this edit advice option. Now if we go to that edit advice option, we will see these different options like Hindi, Marathi, Kannada, Gujarati. So basically when we enter the advice, we can by default we enter it in English, like this. But if we need to add the translation, we can select that advice and we can add the translation uh, in that particular language option. Okay.
So I have to do the translation.
Yeah, you will have to do that. And if you do that, now if you let's add some diagnosis, sorry, advice which has translation. And if we print the prescription now, okay, that particular advice is getting printed in the selected language because it has translation. Okay.
Your team will help me with this translation thing, right?
Sure. We,
I'm not familiar.
yeah, yeah. There are simple tools available on internet. One is this Google Input Tools. Okay, here we can just choose the language which we want to use, and we can just type like this, and it will just translate or the create the sentence which we want, and we can just copy this sentence and paste it in that particular Hindi or Marathi section. But even if you need assistance for that, we can guide you for that.
Great.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So once everything which we want to enter is done, we can simply save this visit. Before saving the visit, we can enter these visit charges here. Okay. Now, if we have fixed consultation charges, we can add them in the settings option. In the application settings, we can add the charges here under this consultancy charges option. and we can save the visit. Now, if the receptionist is the one who is managing the payment, we can just choose this option, payment at reception, and you can save the visit. Once the visit is saved, if we want to send this prescription in email to this patient, we can use this send email option. Okay, so this is how means if I click on the send email option, this will be the window which will open, and our prescription will get attached as a PDF file. Okay, this file will be password protected, so that nobody will be able to open it easily, but the password will be the ID of that patient, so that patient can use that ID and open that attachment. And this is the prescription which that patient will see as an attachment. Okay. Yeah. This prescription can also be saved as a PDF file separately. In the print prescription option, we have that save as PDF option, and then doctors can send that prescription from another email ID or another tool, or they can also use this WhatsApp option for that. So if I click on this option, we can see the WhatsApp web option, and where we can simply attach that option or that PDF file uh, in the WhatsApp and send it to the patient.
Which number will be used
Okay.
here to send the prescription on WhatsApp? My
Yeah, your own WhatsApp will open, and you will be able to send this PDF from your own phone number. So the beauty of this option is, even if the patient's phone number is not stored on your mobile phone, you will still be able to send this prescription to them, or even send some message along with it.
That's great.
Okay. Yeah.
Is there a place to store the patient's past history? Many times they have some history of some
Yeah.
disease before coming to me.
Yeah, so as you see, there are different options like this patient history is there, immunization history, other history. So if we go to this other history option, we have these different options of family history, birth history, risk history. So here you can capture all those things. This can be included in the printing. So if you want to print them on the prescription, you can do that.
Nice.
Okay.
There is other question I have that sometimes I send patient to the lab for test.
Right.
Then I have not yet saved his visit. I still want to see other patient without closing the first
Yes.
patient's case.
Yes.
Is that possible?
Yeah.
Are you there?
Right, right. Yeah. So here we can just quickly open a few tabs by clicking on this plus option, and we can just open the patient details. So let's assume that we need to send this patient for some lab test or something else. So we can just add a few things like this. And without saving the details, we can open a new tab again, where we can open the details of another patient, and then we can start adding treatment for that patient, like some complaints or other medicines and all these things. So that can be done by using this tab option.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, as we have saved details for this patient now, so the payment details for that patient are needed to be saved from the receptionist end. So for that, we can just go to the receptionist option again. Okay, then we can check the payment details. and we will see the payment which is entered by doctors. Okay, now here we, in the current payment option, we can enter the details of payment. So in case if the patient, in most of the cases, patient pay complete amount, but let's say certain times if they are paying this amount partly, so certain times if the charges are like 4,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees, along with some tests and other things. So in that case, if the patient is paying part amount, let's say 1,000 rupees for now, 1,000 rupees in the next visit, so we can manage part payments also from MyPD, and next time that receptionist will see previous balance here. Along with that, the previous payment record is getting displayed here, so we can see any previous balance is there, or what, how is the record of that patient, so we can see those details. Now while entering the payment, we can also choose the payment mode, whether it is a cash payment or a digital payment. In case of digital payment, whether it is a debit card or UPI, net banking. Okay, and finally we can save these details if we just want to save the payment details. If we want to print a receipt for this payment, we can just use this save and print receipt option. So let's create a dummy receipt. For this demo purpose, let's just quickly create a PDF file again. Okay, so this is how a receipt will get printed. Here also we can use this logo option over this UPI QR code. Okay, so just patient can just quickly scan this QR code and they can pay us.
One question.
And this receipt,
On the receipt, I can only see clinic name and logo. Doctor's name is not present at the top.
yeah, right. So basically we can configure these things according to our needs. So if you see here in the settings option, we can choose whether we want to print doctor and clinic name for the prescription or receipt also. So for receipt, I have just turned off this doctor name so that only clinic name is getting printed. So we can choose that. If I want to print a doctor name along with it, I can select this option. Or if I just don't want to print the logo on the receipt, but if I want to print it on the prescription, so I can do that also. So these are the things.
Can I also then have a different paper size for my receipt and different paper size for the prescription? I can then use a smaller paper for receipt.
Yes, yes, yeah. Yes, yes. So here we can choose the do page setup option again, and we can change those settings. So yeah, you can have a separate or longer paper like A4 for the prescription and smaller paper for the receipt.
Does my OPD
Okay.
also support thermal printer? I see a thermal printer setting.
Yeah. So if we yes, yes, we support that. So if you want to print your receipts on thermal paper, you just need to connect that printer along with the computer, and you need to select that here. Okay, if it is selected, yeah,
Okay,
so you can print your receipts on those small papers also.
yes, got it.
Okay,
We need to close now. I'm running out of time.
yeah, okay, so yeah, just one more option I will just quickly mention. So along with these things which we can do related to visits, we can also see the reports of different things. So usually doctors need to see visit reports or accounting reports. So we have provision for that also. So we have this advanced search reports option. where we can see visit reports. If we want to see how many patients have visited in certain span, so we can just select dates like this, and we can get a report for that. So how many patients have visited, or the things which we have added. Okay, and the same report can be generated for accounting purpose. So here also we can select different dates here. We can also see the report for particular day, and this is how it will look like. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. So these are the things which we have, or which we need in our day-to-day operations. So do you have any more questions?
One more thing before I leave. There are Google Play and App Store icons. What is
Yeah,
that?
so we have Android and iOS app which you can use along with this desktop software. It is this MyOPD all-in-one app. Okay, and you will be able to see the patients or the details for the patients, like more than that, the current visit details for that patient, latest visit details in your mobile phone. Okay, which you have entered in the desktop. You can see them on your phone also. Okay, like this. So even if you are outside your clinic, and if you just quickly want to see certain details for certain patient, or some summary of your day, so you can quickly see that like this. Okay, same thing, same app is there available on for the iPhone as well. Okay, yeah, yeah. So do you have any more queries now?
I am done. Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's close this, and we are looking forward to see you.
Thank you.